So today we're tackling the 3V0-23.25 Advanced VMware Cloud Foundation 9.0 storage exam. We have 8 specific scenarios to get through, so let's jump right in.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, first up, imagine you're managing a massive VCF environment. You have a legacy clustered app using vSAN, iSCSI, Target LUNs. If you go in and disable the vSAN iSCSI target service, what actually happens to that data?
Well, in the real world, a lot of admins just panic here. They assume disabling a core service means the associated objects are, purged or completely deleted.
Right, they go straight for option C.
Exactly. They think it's destructive.
But it's actually option B. The data stays completely intact. It just becomes unavailable. Think of it like turning off the main water valve to your house.
Oh, yeah. Your plumbing isn't magically destroyed. The water just stops flowing.
Exactly. So once that storage is sitting there securely, actual data security is the immediate next thought. For vSAN data-at-rest encryption, what identity and key provider prerequisites do we actually need?
I mean, I'd instinctively argue for...
Here's a platform module.
Right. Yeah. Options D or E. TPMs are the hardware security gold standard for both the original storage architecture and the express storage architecture.
Right, so that has to be it. But it's a classic cognitive bias trap. It's actually options A and B. You need a trusted key management server or KMS first.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, TPM is just the physical lock. The KMS is the verified locksmith that creates and manages the keys in the first place.
Ah, okay. You literally cannot even start encrypting without that locksmith verifying who you are.
Spot on, so we're secure. Now back to that urgent patch scenario. Say we're using vSphere Lifecycle Manager images, and we need minimal downtime.
Well, since we want speed, maybe we suspend a memory or just disable HA admission control like options A or C.
Yeah, the trap there is that those are settings for baselines. The scenario specifically notes we are using images.
Oh, right.
So the real-world lifesaver here is option D. You enable quick boot in the host remediation settings for images.
Makes sense. It's like restarting just the operating system instead of power cycling the whole physical machine.
Exactly. You skip the hardware PST entirely. Now, bridging from host patching to specific VM files, what if a remote office needs high availability for Windows graphic design workstations?
And they strictly require native NTFS permissions, right?
Yep. So do we just set up an NFS version 3 share like option C says?
You could try, but translating NFS to Windows permissions is notoriously messy.
It's terrible, which is why option B is the answer. You must use vSAN file service SMB shares.
Because server message block is the native language of Active Directory. You just speak their native language instead of using an awkward translator.
Perfectly said. Let's stick with edge environments for a second, because configuring vSAN file service for NFS shares out there brings unique networking hurdles.
Right, and to handle the storage overhead, my first thought is bumping up the MTU.
Enabling jumbo frames, option D.
Yeah, exactly.
Jumbo frames are helpful, but they aren't strict prerequisites. You actually need 3 specific things from the options list, A, B, and C.
Which are what, exactly?
A dedicated port group, hosts connected to distributed virtual switch 6.6.0 or later, and crucially, MMAC learning enabled.
Wait, why MMAC learning specifically?
Because vSAN file services use internal IP addresses that float between hosts during failover. MS learning allows the virtual switch to learn those addresses dynamically.
Oh, so routing doesn't break.
Yeah.
You aren't just making the envelopes bigger, you're building a smart mailroom that knows exactly where moving targets are.
Great analogy. And speaking of moving targets, if that edge site goes down, disaster recovery kicks in. In VMware Live Site Recovery, how does the system officially know a recovery priority is complete?
I'd assume it's simply when the VMs power on at the recovery site, like option E.
That's the obvious guess, but it's actually option B. It waits for VMware tools' heartbeats.
Oh, just because a machine has power doesn't mean the OS is functioning.
Exactly. It's the difference between knowing someone's alarm clock went off versus them actually saying hello.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
You need that active signal back.
Which brings us to foundational storage health. If you have an external Fibre Channel VMFS data store attached to a VCF workload domain, how do you verify host visibility?
Well, since it's VCF, I drop into the command line and run exclude vSAN storage list. Option A.
Watch the trap. You just said it's an external Fibre Channel VMFS data store.
Oh, wow. It's not vSAN.
Nope. You simply verify visibility and multipath health directly in vCenter, option C. Don't let the VCF acronym trick you into assuming everything is vSAN under the hood.
Good catch.
All right, final question. When we're doing a heavy vSAN ESA design, say RAID 6 with FTT equals 2 plus storage traffic separation, what are the actual hardware requirements.
Sounds massive. I'd want the 7-host, 100 gigabit Ethernet setup in option C and H.
That is buying an oversized dump truck when you just need a heavy-duty pickup. The precise requirements are A, C, D, and F.
Wait, what are those exact specs?
Exactly 6 hosts, 2 tri-mode controllers with 6 NVMe devices each, 128 gigabytes of RAM, and 4 25-gigabit Ethernet NICs.
So that gives you the exact fault domains and bandwidth necessary without burning the IT budget.
Precision is everything. Okay, let's lock in your key takeaways. First, you need to remember the rules for vSAN iSCSI target service availability.
And you must verify vSAN Encryption Key Provider Prerequisites.
Right. Understand vSAN Lifecycle Manager image remediation.
Plus, match vSAN file services for Windows SMB shares to the OS.
Make sure to memorize vSAN file service networking requirements for Edge.
And trust VMware Live Site Recovery priority completion heartbeats.
Rely on vCenter storage path and multipath health for external Fibre Channel.
And finally, strictly follow vSAN eSAN hardware requirements for RAID 6 and traffic separation.
Spot on. So as you prep, ask yourself this. As VMware Cloud Foundation evolves, will external storage and vSAN eventually share the exact same management plane? Keep studying.